The Washington Commanders have suspended an employee who says the NFL fakes DEI, quote, for the sake of good publicity. Chris Graham here for Augusta Free Press. Yeah, the Commanders suspended a guy who works in their front office that you would otherwise never hear of and probably will never hear of again for telling an undercover, quote, reporter that the team's players are anti-gay, Jerry Jones is anti-gay and racist, and that the NFL social justice initiatives are, quote, performative. It sounds like the Commanders suspended the guy Rael Enteen, the vice president of content for the Commanders front office, for letting out some uncomfortable truths. And if you want to know what vice president of content is, pretty much PR guy, right? Quote from the Commanders in a statement, a spokesperson for the Commanders. The language used in the video runs counter to our values at the Commanders organization. We have suspended the employee pending an investigation and will reserve further comment at this time. Now, it's important to note that this undercover, quote, reporter works for the O'Keefe Media Group, the new project of the widely discredited James O'Keefe. You might have heard the name. He has a history of producing deceptively edited videos that attack mainstream news organizations, Democratic politicians and their staffers, and progressive political and advocacy groups. He's a work of art there, this O'Keefe. You have to wonder about the editorial decision from O'Keefe and his media group to go after a low man on the totem pole like the vice president of operations, or excuse me, vice president of content. Not even operations, that would be an important job. Vice president of content for an objectively awful NFL team. Awful on the field, awful in the way it's run, and awful in its relations in the local community and the fan base. I know there's a new ownership group there. It's still an awfully run group of whatever you want to call it. According to the reporting on this that I have come across, the undercover, quote, reporter from the O'Keefe Media Group used a dating app to set up dates with Enteen and met with him twice at DC area restaurants. That's what this O'Keefe guy does, and he has his people do. That's why they're not reporters. They just, I mean, this poor guy, this Rael Enteen, I mean, he's thinking he's getting a chance at, hooking up. So what he appears to have said on the dates, and I'm hedging on what may have actually been said because again, the O'Keefe folks have a reputation for doctoring their videos. So take anything what you get from this guy touches with a grain of salt. But whatever he said would not exactly be all that revealing in the way that I would assume O'Keefe would want. To wit, Enteen, if we're to believe the video cuts, the critical comment first about the NFL social justice initiatives. Quote, this is what Enteen was supposedly to have said. It's not done out of the goodness of their heart. It's done because George Floyd changed the game. It's to make as much money as possible. The NFL cares about the bottom line like any corporation above all else. And then he added, reportedly, I'll have to say reportedly again, because again, but the NFL, because the NFL makes so much money, they can faux prioritize DEI for the sake of good publicity. And I'm hesitating, laughing there. If there's a gotcha there, it's not where O'Keefe normally scores his points. It's not in the wheelhouse. He's used to taking down TV news personalities, politicians, big name progressive groups for giving up some secret about how liberals don't really practice what they preach or some such nonsense. If anything, the reveal here is the people who should know because they work with them. This Enteen guy is, director of content, so he's the PR guy. He thinks he works with these people. He thinks NFL players and owners are bigots, that the league only pretends to be inclusive because it thinks it can make money without having to actually be inclusive. I mean, O'Keefe, to his credit, he did get an anonymous front office guy suspended. So there's that. For Augusta Free Press, I'm Chris Graham.